Welcome everyone. I'm Alex, your host of Popular Polls, our weekly show where you get to answer a question usually all around electric and sustainable transport. Thanks a lot to the six people who answered last week's questions. If you're new to the show, yes, that's a lot. The numbers are on the rise again, and this show's title, named Popular Polls, is becoming a little bit more relevant again, because let's be honest, in comparison to some of the other videos I put out, this is quite unpopular. Anyway, here's what you had to say to last week's questions, which was, what's your preferred mode of transport? Now, out of the 6 people, 3 said it's car. Car is my most preferred, or my preferred way of transport. That's 50%. Train, 2 people said train it is. That's 33%. And 1 person said it's the bike, 16%. Now, it's interesting to still see the car at number 1. Out of the friend group that I usually hang out with, there's a whole bunch of people who are nowadays preferring ride sharing, don't even own a car, or just take the bike. But this is me living in a city like Hamburg. And also this, audience here of mine is probably a little bit biased towards the content of, or towards the mode of transport of a personalized car, because this channel is mostly about electric cars. Anyway, I'd also consider myself in favor of a car, just because it gives me the freedom to go anywhere, and I do live quite far outside of the city of Hamburg, so it's not as easy to get public transport or a train here. Let's be honest, cars aren't really the best way of transporting it. They take up a lot of space, you have to be attentive, you can't really spend your time otherwise, but I hope this will all change if we look into the future with driverless cars, or, self-driving cars. Anyway, certainly a bike is cleaner and, keeps you healthy. We also had one comment, and I'll bring this up right now, concerning the ride-sharing service, and which is something I find super promising for the future and helping us all move around. And it was from Four Skillers, and he or she said the thing about fully autonomous driving in Uber style is that the car is driving with a stranger that could, if he had the tools, I suppose, or she had the tools, hack and steal the Tesla, or other important stuff like the display. Well, let's put this into 2 parts, right? One of the parts is stealing stuff, and the other one is kind of hacking it, which I would consider something more safety concerning. So for stealing it, fortunately, Tesla has, at least in their Model 3s, included a passenger cabin-facing camera, which can then record people if they're driving in their car and make sure that nothing bad is happening. So if you do steal something, it's, just stupid because you're on camera, they have your name, they have your address, they have everything, because you're driving as you would in an Uber, just without a person in it, but you could still monitor them. So I don't think this is going to be as much of a problem. If you really think about it, it's kind of like in rental cars. And the display, because that was, mentioned here, this thing is rigid. Like, you can't really take it off. It's super, it doesn't move. It really doesn't move. And then for the hacking part, so, let's be honest. Tesla is more a software company than it is an than it is an automotive company. They are based in Silicon Valley. They have really, really good, if not the best, software developers. A lot of people want to work there, that even I know myself, and they're doing so much that other companies are not even considering, also when it comes to safety. So if I trust any company with any automotive company with the security of the software that's running the car, it's Tesla. And they even hold competitions where you can win prizes as big as a Model 3 they recently gave away to people who can penetrate the Tesla system and show that it's, subjectable to safety concerns by hacking. And then they also continuously offer you money if you can demonstrate that you can hack the Tesla in any way that's really harmful. So I think we're going to be fine on that one, but I could be wrong. Let's see what the future holds in terms of hacking cars. All right, let's get into the kind of new question and also other part, because last week I asked you about the future of the show, and I haven't really gotten any feedback so far, so for now I'll leave it as is, like as the infamous popular polls it started with a couple of weeks ago. 13 weeks. This is the 13th episode. Wow. Maybe spicing it up once and then occasionally in the future with some interviews or so. We'll see. We'll see. All right, this week's question is about news. I recently did a video about my top news sources about electric cars and how I stay up to date. So I want to know from you, what are your top news sources, especially around EVs? To answer, click on the card that's popping up in the top right-hand corner of your screen right now. And here are your options. Number 1, podcasts. That's my number 1, certainly. Number 2, blogs and forums. So it's definitely something that's internet-based. Number 3, TV news. Number 4, the traditional print media. And number 5 are the internet news outlets. And by that, I classify sites such as the New York Times or, some of the newspapers that run internet-based news sites. Just because they're not traditionally, they're still the traditional print media kind of genre, I'd say, but they're just a news company, and some of you might prefer using a printed newspaper. The advantage in internet news is certainly that they can be updated and, even after the fact could impose new information, whereas with a print newspaper you can't really do that. Anyway, if your answer isn't there, if it isn't in these 5 options I just gave you, please leave a comment down below and let me know what your preferred news source is. I'm looking super forward to all of your answers, which we'll discuss as always on next week's show. Have a lovely rest of your day. Make sure to subscribe, which is free, that's how you say it, and I'll see you in the next video.